want to start today by describing a scene that is, well, it's going to feel uncomfortably familiar.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 6:30 a.m., the alarm goes off,
Yeah.
you're groggy, you haven't even had your coffee yet.
Yeah.
You roll over, grab your phone, because apparently we're all completely addicted to the blue light.
Of course we are.
Right. And you open Instagram or TikTok, and instantly, before your feet even hit the floor, you see it.
You see the highlight reel.
Exactly. You see someone, maybe it's a polyglot, maybe a fitness influencer, just absolute crushing it.
Oh, yeah.
If you're learning English, you see a video of someone speaking incredibly fast, using all this complex vocabulary, sounding totally confident, and what happens?
You don't feel inspired.
No,
Yeah.
you do not. You feel, you feel heavy. You get this pit in your stomach, like, I'm already losing, and the day hasn't even started.
Yeah, it's the classic morning doom scroll effect.
Right.
You are essentially waking up and immediately injecting a massive dose of cortisol into your system by comparing your behind the scenes with everyone else's stage performance.
Oh, behind the scenes versus stage performance. That is a really great way to put it.
It's true, though.
It is. And that feeling of being behind is exactly what we are tackling today. We're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating source.
Which one is it?
It's called The Gentle Art of Morning English Practice, and it's from the Boost English, the podcast series.
Ah, yes.
Now, I have to be completely honest with you. When I first saw the title of this source, I almost skipped it.
Really? Why is that?
Gentle Art. I mean, it sounded a little too soft.
Too soft.
Yeah. I'm used to the whole hustle genre of self-improvement. You know the type.
Oh, wake up at 4 a.m., take an ice bath, grind for 3 hours.
Exactly. The David Goggins approach to language learning. So I thought this source was just going to be an excuse to be lazy.
But it wasn't.
No, I realized I was totally wrong. This isn't about doing less just for the sake of being lazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's about doing less so you don't quit.
That distinction is so vital. Because the source, it isn't offering a productivity hack to squeeze, more work into your already busy life. It's essentially a manifesto on sustainability. It argues that in language learning, and honestly, this applies to any skill acquisition, we have moved from a place of curiosity to a place of pressure and guilt.
And that pressure is killing us.
It is actually killing our ability to learn. It shuts the brain down.
It's the difference between running a quick sprint and suddenly realizing you actually signed up for a full marathon.
Exactly.
So let's unpack this idea of the heavy morning that the source talks about.
Let's do it.
It identifies a very specific internal monologue that kicks in when we wake up feeling all this pressure. It says the morning is quiet, which is actually kind of dangerous because the internal critic gets really loud.
Yes. The source quotes the inner critic saying things like, you should be better, or you should speak more fluently.
Or the worst one.
You are behind.
You are behind. I absolutely hate that phrase.
It's damaging.
It implies there is some sort of master schedule out there, and you are missing it. But who made the schedule?
Right. Society, social media, it's usually an entirely imaginary metric.
Yeah.
But here is why that is so dangerous. When you feel behind, your instinct is to try to overcompensate.
Oh, I do this all the time.
The source describes this perfectly as the cycle of failure. You feel late, so you design a routine that is basically impossible to maintain.
I am the king of this cycle. I'll think, okay, I feel dumb today, so tomorrow I'm waking up an extra hour early. I'm going to do 30 minutes of grammar, 20 minutes of shadowing, and read a whole chapter of a novel in English.
And it looks great on paper.
It looks amazing. It looks like the schedule of an absolute winner.
But what actually happens by day 3?
By day 3, I am completely exhausted.
Yep.
By day 4, I hit the snooze button.
Yeah.
And this is the part the source really nails. I miss one single day, and I just quit everything.
That is the crash.
Yeah.
The source analyzes this psychologically, and it's so important to hear. It's not that you lack discipline.
Thank goodness.
Right. It's that the plan was physically and mentally too heavy. We tend to view consistency as this moral virtue, but it's actually a physics problem.
A physics problem.
Yeah. If the friction is too high, the object simply won't move.
Too heavy. That's such a relief to hear, because usually the whole narrative around this is you just didn't want it bad enough.
Which is nonsense.
Exactly. But the source is saying, no, you just tried to bench press 300 pounds on your very first day at the gym.
Precisely. You crushed yourself.
Yeah.
The source makes a really fascinating point here. The human brain is hardwired to avoid pain. If your morning routine feels scary or overwhelming, your brain will absolutely find a way to avoid it.
It's a survival mechanism.
Exactly. But if a task feels possible, like stupidly simple, even the brain looks at it and says, okay, yeah, we can do that.
So the entire goal is to kind of trick your brain by lowering the bar so much that it basically can't say no.
Essentially, yes.
Ah.
And this brings us right to the solution the source proposes, which is the gentle morning routine.
Okay, before we get into the actual steps of this routine, I want to ask about the timing.
Sure.
The source is very specific about the morning. Now, I am not a morning person. My brain does not turn on until at least 10 a.m. Can't I just do all this at night?
Well, you could, but you'd be fighting against a pretty strong current.
How so?
The source argues that mornings are unique specifically because the mind is quiet, fresh, and not yet full of noise.
Okay.
And cognitive load theory really backs this up. By the end of the day, your working memory is just depleted.
That's true.
You've made thousands of little decisions. The morning offers this rare blank slate where you can plant a small seed before the noise of the rest of the world rushes in.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. The noise of the day definitely drowns out all my good intentions by about 8 p.m. anyway.
Exactly.
So let's get into the how-to. The source gives us 3 steps, and I have to put my skeptic hat back on here.
Bring it on.
These steps seem, well, almost too small to actually work.
Let's hear them.
Step 1 is called the one sentence. The idea is you're boiling water for tea, or you're waiting for the coffee machine to warm up. You are supposed to say just one simple sentence out loud about your day, not a speech. Literally one sentence.
Give me an example from the text.
Let's see. Today I feel sleepy. Or, I'll work at 9. Or, I want to practice English.
Okay.
Simple enough.
But here is my issue with this. How is saying, today I feel sleepy, going to ever get me to fluency?
It sounds too small.
It feels like a total drop in the ocean. If I want to learn a language, do I need to be constructing complex paragraphs?
If you were training for a professional debate tomorrow, maybe. But remember the actual goal here.
Which is?
We aren't trying to pass a test today. We are trying to build an identity.
Hmm.
When you say that one sentence, 2 very specific things happen. First, you break the silence barrier.
The silence barrier.
Yeah, speaking a foreign language out loud usually feels weird. Doing it while you're half asleep in your kitchen kind of normalizes it.
That makes sense. Second, and this is the crucial part, you are proving to yourself that you can speak.
So it's a psychological win rather than a massive linguistic one.
It's both, really. If you try to construct a massive, complex paragraph at 6 a.m., you might stumble, feel stupid, and stop completely.
Which I have done.
Right. But if you just say, I want coffee, you succeed. Period. You start your day with a win.
And you get that little dopamine hit.
Exactly. That dopamine matters. It creates a safe space for the language in your brain.
The safe space.
Yeah.
I really like that. It stops the language from being this big, scary monster lurking in the corner.
Precisely.
Okay, let's look at step 2. This is the one I found the most interesting and probably the most controversial, honestly.
Passive listening.
Yes. The instruction here is to listen to 2 to 5 minutes of English, like a podcast, while you drink your coffee.
Sounds easy enough.
But here's the kicker. The source specifically says you don't need to understand every word. Slow understanding is still understanding.
Yes. That's a powerful line.
But I feel like every language teacher I've ever had would completely disagree with this.
Why?
Because if I'm not actively analyzing the grammar or pausing to look up words, I don't know, isn't that just background noise? Isn't that just lazy studying?
This is such a common misconception.
Is it?
Yes, because we tend to confuse studying with acquisition.
What's the difference?
Studying is active, it's dissecting grammar rules, memorizing lists of verbs, but acquisition happens quite differently. Think about how a baby learns their first language.
Well, they don't study grammar books.
No, do they?
No, they just stare at you and drool while you talk to them.
Exactly. They listen. For years. This is all about something called prosody. Your brain actually needs to map the rhythm, the intonation, and the musicality of a new language before it can efficiently map the actual meaning.
So the melody comes before the lyrics.
Beautifully said, yes. When you listen passively without the stress of having to understand every single thing, your brain is still in there collecting data.
It's categorizing sounds.
Exactly. It's getting used to where one word ends and the next one begins.
So even if I have no idea what's being said, my brain is kind of tuning the radio frequency.
That's exactly what it's doing. And the source emphasizes that slow understanding is entirely valid.
Right.
See, when you stress out about catching every single word, your cortisol spikes, and your brain actually starts to shut down its language centers to focus on the perceived threat.
Because stress equals danger to the brain.
Yes. By removing that pressure, by literally saying to yourself, it's okay to be confused right now, you stay relaxed. And a relaxed brain is a sponge.
Man, that is a huge reframe. We are so conditioned for no pain, no gain.
Oh, everywhere.
But here the philosophy is basically no calm, no acquisition.
It creates exposure without the emotional tax.
I love that. Okay, moving to step 3, which is one word. Learn one small word and just try to use it that day. Again, just one, not a list of 20 vocabulary words.
This goes right back to the logic of the one-sentence step.
Consistency over intensity.
Exactly. Consistency is stronger than intensity. If you cram and learn 20 words on Sunday, but then do 0 the rest of the week, you'll forget them.
True.
But if you learn 1 word a day, every single day, that's 365 words a year. But honestly, more importantly than the math, you are keeping the channel open.
Keeping the channel open. The source actually uses a specific phrase here that I highlighted. It says, 10 minutes a day changes you inside.
Yes.
It's not just about the vocabulary count. It changes you.
Because it changes your self-perception. You stop being someone who wants to learn English and you become someone who does English.
That identity shift is massive.
It's way more powerful than any textbook.
Now, this brings us to the part of the deep dive where we really have to talk about mindset.
Let's do it.
The source uses some metaphors that I found really beautiful, but I want to dig into them because they aren't just there to be poetic. They're actually describing the reality of the learning curve.
Which one stood out to you first?
The river. The expert in the source says, a river doesn't always rush. Sometimes it moves slowly and quietly.
This is a brilliant metaphor for progress.
Yeah?
In our modern world, we are obsessed with linear growth.
Always up and to the right.
Exactly. We want to see the chart go up every single day. But nature doesn't work like that, and learning certainly doesn't work like that.
Right. If you go stand by a river, sometimes the water looks like it's barely moving at all. If you stare at it for just 5 minutes, you might think, well, this river is broken. It's not going anywhere.
But if you come back in 1,000 years...
It's carved a canyon.
Yes. That slow, quiet water has carved a massive canyon right through solid rock.
Wow.
The source is asking us to trust geologic time rather than Instagram time. Just because you didn't become suddenly fluent this week doesn't mean the water isn't moving.
But that requires so much patience.
It does.
It's so hard to trust that process when you personally feel stuck, which actually leads to the second metaphor, winter.
Oh, this is my favorite part of the text.
Yeah, the source talks about how winter looks totally dead, the trees are bare, the ground is frozen hard. Nothing seems to be happening on the surface. But what's happening underground?
The roots are growing.
Right.
In learning science, we actually have a name for this. We call it the intermediate plateau.
The intermediate plateau.
Yeah, it's that long phase where you feel like you aren't getting any better, you're putting in the daily work, but the visible results just aren't showing up.
And that's where most people quit.
They quit right there. They think it's over.
They think the tree is dead.
Exactly. But the source is saying, no, you are just in winter. You are busy building the root system that will support the explosive growth in spring.
So it's preparation.
If you didn't have this quiet, stuck period, you literally wouldn't have the foundation to handle the next level of complexity.
So feeling stuck isn't actually a sign of failure at all. It's a sign of deepening.
It's a necessary season. The text mentions this concept of life chapters. Sometimes you are in a fast chapter and sometimes you're in a slow chapter.
And we need both.
Slow chapters build strength. You simply can't skip them.
I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people listening. We judge ourselves so harshly for being in a slow chapter. We look at other people's summer and we just hate our winter.
And that constant comparison brings us right back to the vocabulary we use. The source actually redefines some very common words to help us deal with these negative feelings.
It's almost like a glossary for emotional survival.
It really is.
Let's run through a few of these. The first one is behind, as in I am behind.
The source totally flips this. It defines behind not as a hard fact, but as a feeling.
A feeling.
Yes. It asks, behind whom? Behind what schedule? Unless you have a very specific exam date set by a university next week, behind is an illusion.
It's just a manifestation of anxiety.
Exactly.
Identifying it as a feeling is so helpful. It means I can feel it acknowledge it, and then basically just ignore it.
Let it pass.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is possible.
This is the ultimate antidote to the heavy morning. The source defines possible as the actual key to motivation. We don't do things because they are important. We do them because they feel doable.
Ah, that is so true.
If you want to motivate yourself, don't increase the stakes. Don't make it harder. Increase the possibility. Make it easier.
Lower the bar until it's possible.
Yes.
And then we get to the big one. The word that kills more dreams than anything else. Guilty.
Ah, guilt.
The source defines guilty simply as the normal feeling when you skip a day.
Notice what word they use there.
Normal. I love that they added that word.
It creates emotional distance. Usually when we feel guilty, we spiral. I missed a day, I'm lazy, I'm an awful person, I'm never going to learn this.
We catastrophize it.
Right, but the source says no, guilt is just a chemical reaction in your brain. It's just a signal.
Just a signal.
You can feel guilty and still practice anyway. You can feel guilty and still say your one tiny sentence while the water boils. You do not have to wait for the guilt to magically go away before you start again.
That is the key right there. You don't have to fix the feeling to fix the habit. You just step right over the guilt and keep walking.
Exactly.
And finally, the source pairs routine and habit with a concept of being boring.
Boring is good.
Boring. I mean, that doesn't sound very inspiring.
Well, inspiring is highly overrated.
Is it?
Yes, because inspiration burns out. It's exhausting. The source argues that a routine should be exactly like brushing your teeth.
Okay.
Do you need to watch a motivational YouTube video to brush your teeth in the morning?
No?
Do you need to feel deeply inspired to put toothpaste on the brush?
No, I just do it because, well, I don't want my teeth to fall out. It's purely automatic.
And that is the goal. Making English or whatever skill you are learning so small, so deeply routine that it becomes utterly mundane. When it's boring, it's automatic. And when it's automatic, you win.
That is such a wild paradox. To be excitingly fluent, you have to be boringly consistent.
That's the secret formula.
Wow. So we've covered the heavy morning. We looked at the science of microactions, the metaphors of growth with the river and the seasons, and this incredible reframing of our vocabulary.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did. As we wrap this up, I'm thinking about you, the listener, who's going to wake up tomorrow morning.
Right.
You're going to be tired. You're going to instinctively reach for your phone. What is the final message the source has for them in that moment?
The source ends with a very gentle reassurance. It speaks directly to the reader, or in our case, the listener, and it just says, you are not late. You are learning. Mistakes are normal.
It just wants to strip away all the drama.
All of it.
And there's a little invitation at the end, right? The Try Tomorrow Challenge.
Yes. But notice, it's not a challenge to do more.
Right.
It's actually a challenge to be gentle. The source invites you to wake up tomorrow, smile, like actually physically smile, and just say one single sentence out loud while the water boils.
And then listen to something for 2 minutes while you drink your coffee.
And then stop.
Stop entirely.
Yes, then stop. Don't do more. Prove to your brain that you can show up without burning out.
Win the morning by keeping it small. I really, really love that.
Before we go, I want to leave the listener with one final thought, going back to that winter metaphor we discussed.
Please do.
We live in a world that only ever applauds the harvest.
This is true.
We only clap for the fruit, the flowers, the highly visible success. But I want you to ask yourself today, where in your life are you currently in winter? Where are you judging yourself harshly for being still or stuck or unproductive?
That's a pretty heavy question to sit with.
It is. But if you can look at that specific area of your life and realize, hey, I'm not dead, I'm just deepening, it changes everything.
It really does.
You stop trying to force the leaves to grow in the freezing cold, and you focus on watering the roots.
I'm not dead, I'm just deepening. That is definitely going to stick with me for a long time.
The river is always moving, even when it looks quiet. And so are you.
Thank you so much for breaking all of this down with me today. This was honestly shockingly therapeutic for a deep dive into language practice.
Sometimes the absolute best way to learn is to just stop trying quite so hard.
Absolutely. To everyone listening out there, good luck with your one sentence tomorrow morning. Be gentle with yourselves, and we'll see you next time.